Well, it was a rough day in the breeding shed yesterday. I took Matilda out because she'd reached the 3-week margin, and somewhere I read that you take the females out at 3 weeks. Now, the reason I'm in such a big hurry with Matilda is because she did kill one of her chicks before. Mind you, she was probably in her 5th week or more, but it makes me paranoid. So I took her out yesterday, came out this morning. Royal had not tended the chicks. They had not a thing in their bellies, so I put her back in again. And now they're all full and fat and sassy. So clearly it was too soon. But they both have, they're all full and fat and sassy and ready to go. These two, so now I'm like, okay, I'm not really sure what I'm waiting for as far as pulling the hens to make sure they don't damage the babies, but clearly it's too soon right now. So I will go back to coming out and seeing who's sleeping with the chicks at night and who isn't, because that's been an indicator for me before, but it's kind of hard to make a decision. But anyway, my 3 little families over here are doing just fine. Babies are good. Yesterday I found a partially opened egg with a fully formed chick in it in Fluffy's box. It looked pretty dead to me, but I put it back in there anyway, just in case Mama Bird knows more than me. But I went in and looked at it a few hours later, and she had pulled it out of the shell and was sitting on it to keep it warm, but it was clearly dead. So I took it out. Sky and Jester over here hatched an egg yesterday. I checked it out. It didn't look good. It was still alive, but it didn't look good, and I checked it later, and it was dead. Losing chicks everywhere. Then I went into this box with Sparky and Kelly, who are bringing up 2 foster babies. None of their eggs hatched. They were all infertile because they bred too soon after a course of calcium, and that makes the males infertile. But so I took the whole box and to pull the chick out and reband it again because its band had come off its leg, and discovered that I had a badly splayed chick. Now I don't know why I don't think of these things at the time, but so what happens with the splayed leg thing is their legs at first. Their legs are just kind of sticking out to the sides, but if it gets really bad, their legs become deformed. Their hips do something weird in the sockets, and their legs literally stick out to the side, and their little foots curl, and the thigh bone grows, but the lower bone doesn't. The bone between the knee and the foot doesn't, and it just becomes completely deformed. This happened to this chick literally in 48 hours because I tried to band it 2 days before and it didn't look deformed to me at all. But it was, especially one leg, was completely out of bounds. There was no way to tape it because it was already so deformed you couldn't do anything with it. So I had to put that one down. I believe it was the younger chick. Now remember, there was one chick that these 2 hatched. That was actually Cloudy's egg. And then another chick that I put in there from Buster and Breezy over here because it was too much younger than the other 2 chicks in there, and Breezy wasn't able to take care of it. So I put it in here, and Kelly's taking really good care of it. But I pulled him out and took a good look at him, and his legs were both splayed too. Now this chick was 5 days older than the other chick, but only maybe had 1 or 2 days of growth on the other chick because it had spent 5 days not growing with Breezy. So it was not a lot bigger than the other chick. In fact, I'm not even sure that it is the bigger chick. It could be that this is. I could have it backwards because they were basically the same size when I put them in there, and you can't really tell them apart. So this one's legs were sticking out in front of it to a V, and its toes were starting to curl a bit. It was clearly getting ready to go splayed. So I taped him, put him back in here, and he's looking okay today. He's looking a little better. The tape is still on him. His feet are stuck underneath him. They can't stick out in front. And that seems to be a part of it, is the hip bone actually deforms, and the leg is allowed to jut out to the side. And if you catch it before it deforms and tape the legs underneath the chick, then the bones can't go there. The other thing I did was I put a low dose of calcium in their drinking water. So I looked at this chick. I did this yesterday afternoon, so I looked at this chick a little earlier. He's still taped, his feet are still under him, and his feet seem to be flattening out and hitting the ground. So I think things are shaping up, and that's good. So the downside is we lost chick, another one, 3 in one day. Really discouraging, but that's the downside to breeding animals. And all I can say is, if you're going to do this, get chloroform. Because if you're faced with having to put down a chick, which I had to do to the other one because it was deformed beyond the point where taping would help. If you're going to breed any kind of animal in numbers, you're going to deal with death. You're going to deal with babies that have gone wrong. You're going to deal with adults that get brutally injured by predators that attack the cages. And have the chloroform, because it's a way that you can make a humane decision about an animal, and without having to commit any violence in order to end its life. So I have hopes that this other baby, who is actually Breezy's, will make it through this without too much trouble. So here's something that I was doing because I know that my birds are low on calcium. I know that a lot of them had already laid a clutch. So what I did was, with these 3 cages over here, what I did was, the day after the first chick hatched, I started putting a low dose of the calcium in the water because I was afraid that the parents didn't have enough and I would be dealing with the splayed leg thing. So here's the thing, the calcium supplement that I've been using alters their behavior dramatically. And for parakeets, apparently calcium is a mind-altering drug. So if I were to just give them a full-on dose of that stuff, the hen would instantly, because her calcium levels in her bloodstream would shoot the moon, she would instantly go into laying mode, possibly abandon the chick, and the males become hyperactive and want to breed 24/7. So I knew I couldn't give them a full dose. So what I did was I gave them, the dose that it recommends on the bottle is 1 teaspoon per cup of water. It's way too much. So what I did was I said, okay, I'm going to go down to traces. So I put 1/8 of a teaspoon for a cup of water. And I kept it up until I banded the first chick. So basically the first 9 days that the hen's on new babies. I got no splayed legs here in any of these chicks. In fact, I think I got really good results. But I was watching them like a hawk for those behavioral changes, because I didn't, it kind of defeats the purpose if the mother freaks out and kills all the chicks or stops taking care of them because she wants to go into breeding mode again or whatever. So I watched them like a hawk. And the reason I stopped the day before I banded the first chick is because that's when I started seeing the females coming out and chasing the males around the cage. Like, oh, okay, maybe she wants to breed now. And the minute you stop giving them that very low dose, their blood calcium levels drop and they go back into brooding mode. So it worked really well. I'm really pleased with my results here. What happened over here was I started doing the same thing. I kept it up for 4 days, and what I saw was Sparky here started to freak out. He started really just amping up. And I thought it was probably because of the calcium. He actually seems to be a little amped in general right now. But I thought it was because of the calcium, so I stopped it after 3 or 4 days. I'm pretty sure it was 4 days. So really interesting. The chicks that didn't get the 9 days of it both come out splayed-legged. Here's another interesting fact. Neither of these chicks were related to the parents, and neither of them were related to each other. One was Breezy's baby, one was Cloudy's baby. So the splayed-legged thing has absolutely nothing to do with genetics. And the idea, I used to do chickens, and when a chick gets a, quote, splayed leg, unquote, it's rickets. It's a calcium deficiency. And I kept looking at this and hearing splayed-legged, the hen's sitting too hard on them, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, no, it's a calcium deficiency. That's rickets. That's what I kept thinking to myself. Now, Kelly's an experienced hen. She raised another brood of 3 chicks. None of them were splayed. They're all in great shape. I knew she would be low on calcium, so this just tells me that the whole splayed-legged thing is rickets, and that calcium for these birds is crucially important. So I have high hopes that this little guy is going to pull through, that I caught him in time before he went deformed, and he'll be okay. Here's my other piece of bad news. I'm pretty sure that Blue is not breeding Cloudy. I'm about to bring in another male and introduce him and see what happens. I took out Sky and Jester, put them in the big flight. They're going to rest for a month or two before they come in to try for one last time. Giving her lots and lots of calcium, of course. I'm waiting for Coco to hatch an egg. Nothing yet. So it's kind of a down day. But I do get to go on the big flight and decide who I want to bring in. And I'm going to bring in another male here and see if he chases Blue out. The reason I think Blue's not getting the job done is because A, I've never seen him, and B, although he loves her and is very affectionate with her, she is continually begging him for attention, like he's not getting to the point. And I cleaned out their cage and pulled the tray out. You see this? He says, "You're pretty. Here, let me feed you. Lovely box." But I don't think he's breeding her. I pulled the tray out to clean it, and Cloudy looked down here and saw Sprite down below her. Cloudy can get out of these cages. She literally opens the door and climbs right on out anytime she feels like it. But she's been in there because she likes her box, and she's hoping for something with Blue. The minute she saw Sprite down here, she completely abandoned ship, climbed right out the front door, and came down here and tried to get into Sprite's cage. Now, Sprite tried to attack her because, of course, he's already got a mate. But, yeah, see this? She's begging, begging, begging. That little breeding is supposed to be happening here, and he's just not doing it. I'm going to go get another male. I'll show you what happens when I do.